When the judge entered the courtroom that morning, even the walls went quiet. You could hear the hum of the old ceiling fan struggling to breathe. And right there, standing in a dark grey suit 2 sizes too big, was Chijoke Nwokoye, the man who had decided to sue his ancestors. People in the courtroom couldn't stop whispering. Some were laughing quietly, others were crossing themselves, and one old woman kept saying, "Tufiakwa, what kind of madness is this?" But Chijoke wasn't laughing. He stood straight, his face carved in stubbornness, a small Bible in one hand and a thick envelope in the other. When the clerk called his case number 47, Chijoke Nwokoye versus the spirits of his forefathers, the entire courtroom erupted in laughter. Even the judge coughed to hide a smile. Chijoke grew up hearing one story over and over again, that his family was cursed. For generations, no man in their lineage ever lived past the age of 42. His great-grandfather died at 42. His grandfather, same age. His father, 41 and 9 months, close enough. When Chijoke turned 39, every small cough felt like an announcement from the ancestors. He'd go to the hospital for a headache and come out crying, thinking it was the beginning of the end. He became obsessed, reading, praying, fasting, even visiting herbalists in secret. One day, when another pastor told him, "You cannot break a family curse until you confront the source," Chijoke took it literally. That night, sitting alone with a cup of garri and groundnut, he muttered, "If my ancestors are the problem, then let's go to court." He spent months preparing. He printed papers, gathered old records, even took photos of family graves. He listed the names of his ancestors like witnesses: Nwokoye the First, Odogu the Great, Anene the Wise, and of course, Papa Namdi, his late father. His petition said, "These spirits have unlawfully inflicted generational suffering on me and my descendants. I, Chijoke Nwokoye, hereby sue them for damages, both physical and spiritual." He filed it at the Enugu High Court. At first, the clerks thought it was a prank. Then when the media picked it up, the whole town started talking. Some said he had lost his mind. Some said he was brave. Others said he was about to die before 42 for real. But Chijoke stood firm. He said, "Let them come. If they are strong enough to kill me, they should be strong enough to appear in court." The night before the first hearing, Chijoke couldn't sleep. The wind outside howled like someone crying. Around 2 a.m., his light flickered 3 times and went off. Then he heard a knock on his window. Not the usual knock-knock, but 3 heavy thuds that made his heart jump. "Who's there?" he shouted. Silence. Then a voice, calm, deep and old, said, "You called us. We have come." The next morning when he arrived at court, he noticed something strange. The last row of seats, which had been empty before, was now occupied by 4 old men wearing traditional wrappers, red beads, and holding staffs. Nobody else seemed to notice them. But when Chijoke's eyes met theirs, he felt his blood go cold. He whispered, "It's them." The trial began. Chijoke stood alone as his own lawyer. "Your Honor," he said, "my ancestors have violated my right to live freely without inherited suffering. I seek justice." The judge stared at him. "Mr. Mokoye," he said slowly, "how do you expect this court to summon spirits?" Chijoke said, "Your Honor, they are already here." When he pointed to the back, the judge frowned. But then his pen suddenly rolled off the table by itself. The ceiling fan stopped spinning. A cold breeze swept through the room. Everyone froze.
One of the spirit ancestors stood up and spoke in a voice that echoed like thunder. "We did not curse you, Chijoke. You cursed yourself with fear." The room gasped. "We lived short because we refused to change. We carried anger, greed, and secrets. You are repeating our mistakes." Chijoke's lips trembled. He shouted, "Then why did you let it continue?" The spirit said, "Because every generation chooses its own chains."
The ancestors then revealed something Chijioke had never heard. His great-grandfather had betrayed a brother during the colonial wars. That brother died and swore that the male line of the family would never live long. But the curse was tied to a hidden truth, the family land. Apparently, the land Chijioke's father sold before dying was sacred ground. Every time the land was sold, the curse renewed itself. The spirits told him, "You want freedom? Restore what was taken, mend what was broken." And just like that, the spirits vanished, leaving a single red feather on the judge's table. Nobody in court could explain what had happened. The judge dismissed the case, but the story went viral. Chijoke became famous overnight, the man who sued his ancestors and won. But he didn't feel victorious. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. He knew what he had to do. He returned to his village. He found the man who had bought the sacred land and begged him to sell it back. The man laughed until his house caught fire the next day from nowhere. After that, he sold it back immediately. Chijoke built a small shrine there, not for worship, but for peace. He planted a tree and poured palm wine on the soil, saying, "This is for the blood that was spilled, the promises that were broken, and the sons yet unborn." The wind blew softly, like a sigh of relief. A month later, Chijoke was driving back to Enugu when a car lost control and crashed into his. People rushed to the scene. He was taken to the hospital. The doctors said, "It's a miracle he's alive." But while he was unconscious, he found himself standing in that same courtroom again, this time empty. The red feathered judge appeared. "Your case is closed," the judge said, "but not for you, for your children." Chijoke smiled weakly. "So, I'm free." The judge nodded, then added softly, "Freedom always comes with a price." When he woke up, his right arm was paralyzed. The doctor said he might never move it again. He laughed bitterly. Even freedom came with tax. Before I tell you what Chijoke did next, my friend, if you are still watching this, you are enjoying it, Abi. Quickly subscribe and turn on the bell. You don't want to miss the kind of twist coming next. Years later, Chijoke became a writer. He published a book titled The Man Who Sued His Ancestors, and it became a bestseller across Africa. People came to interview him asking, "Did it really happen?" He would just smile and say, "When you face your fears, your ancestors will stand beside you, not behind you." Before he died at age 84, he left a letter for his son. It said, "Don't fight your bloodline, redeem it. The strongest man is not the one who breaks the curse, but the one who refuses to pass it down." Today, they said the Nwokoye family is free. No man dies young anymore, and every child born in that family is first taken to that sacred tree to touch the soil their forefathers once fought over. Nobody knows if Chijoke truly saw spirits that day, but one thing is certain, he changed the story of his bloodline. And somewhere, maybe in another realm, his ancestors are smiling because at last, one of them stood up and said, "Enough." If you believe in destiny, remember, even destiny fears a man who refuses to be afraid. Subscribe for more powerful African stories like this one. My name is Trickster, and this is just the beginning.